Hello and welcome to Crime Chronicles. Today we'll be taking a look at the life of Irish crime boss Cornelius Price. Some of his exploits seem like they could be from the script of a Hollywood movie, but trust me, they are all real. During his reasonably short life, Price was suspected of many shocking acts of violence, but convicted of almost none. Spoiler alert, he died in 2023, but authorities continue to uncover disturbing details of his many crimes. So who was Cornelius Price? In a nutshell, he was the leader of a dangerous criminal gang that operated out of Gormanstown, County Meath, in Ireland. Cornelius Price was widely regarded as a violent, ruthless and vicious thug. He was feared by others and seemingly feared no one, not even the Gardaí, the Irish police. He had a long history of run-ins with the authorities in Ireland, as well as in the UK. His gang was linked to a number of high-profile crimes, but most of their income was derived from, surprise, surprise, drug trafficking. Gardaí suspects the 41-year-old father of two, who was heavily involved in organised crime, was responsible for at least 4 murders. The most horrific of these murders was that of a young couple and their unborn child. He also had close ties with a number of organised crime groups, including the McCarthy-Dundon gang in Limerick. He was filmed celebrating the death of rival gang leader Robbie Lawler, who was shot dead in Belfast in April 2020. The footage was subsequently widely circulated on social media and went a long way towards cementing Price's reputation as a ruthless crime boss. Cornelius Price operated from a fortified compound in Gormanstown in County Meath. It was at this compound where 34-year-old Willie Morn and 21-year-old Anna Varsylvain were last seen alive before they went missing on the 14th of April 2015. The couple had been living in the area but had planned to move to Tullar, where Willie Morn's family lived. They were on their way to meet Willie's mother when they disappeared. Currently, the Gardaí investigation into their disappearance remains open. Detectives are hopeful that the death of the violent gang leader may enable people with information about the murders, and who, up until now, may have been afraid of Cornelius Price, to come forward in confidence. The couple's remains have never been found. Gardaí believe Cornelius Price ordered their murders because he feared Willie Morn may have known something about his involvement in the drug-related murder of Benny Whitehouse the previous year. Price and Benny Whitehouse were involved in a violent feud over the supply of drugs in Louth in North County Dublin. Whitehouse and another man attacked Price with a bat on Chapel Street in Balbriggan in November 2013. The following September, Whitehouse was shot dead by a lone gunman. His partner was also shot in the leg. The couple had just dropped their children off at the school that morning. Price's drug-dealing gang then became involved in another murderous feud with a gang led by the notorious criminal Robbie Lawler. This became known as the Drogheda feud. It seems like being involved in a feud is Crime Boss 101. Over 200 people were involved in the feud, which led to assaults, kidnappings, petrol bombings, homes being burned out, and 4 murders, including that of 17-year-old Keen Mulready Woods. Gardaí set up Operation Stratus to target these gangs, and over 150 suspects were pursued. A large number of dangerous criminals have since been imprisoned, including Paul Crosby. He was jailed for 10 years at the Special Criminal Court early in 2023 for his role in the Keen Mulready Woods murder. Paul Crosby was convicted of bringing Keen Mulready Woods to the house in Drogheda, where he was murdered and his remains dismembered. Cornelius Price was suspected of being involved in another feud murder, that of Robbie Lawler's associate, Keith Brannigan. The 29-year-old was shot dead at the Ashling Holiday Park in Cloggerhead on 27th of August 2019. Price had only been released from prison a few months earlier in May 2019 after serving a 3-year sentence for reckless endangerment. Remember how I said Cornelius Price feared no one, even the Gardaí? This was proven in January 2014 when he drove a van at high speed at Garda Gary Delane at Balbriggan Garda Station, forcing the guarder to jump out of the way to avoid serious injury. The fear Gary Delane felt in the wake of this attack by Price made him consider leaving the force altogether. Price subsequently took a case against the state, claiming he had been kept in Wheatfield Prison 24 hours longer than he should have been. The Court of Appeal dismissed it. The court found his quote-unquote alternative attempt to recalibrate his entitlement to remission was contrary to logic. As the Drogheda feud became increasingly violent and dangerous for those involved, Price decided to move to the UK. He was also under severe pressure from the Gardaí. His compound had been raided several times, and he was the target not just of Operation Stratus, but also of the Garda's national units and the Criminal Assets Bureau. The Criminal Assets Bureau, or CAB, is an independent statutory body that was established by the Criminal Assets Bureau Act in 1996. The Bureau's statutory remit is to carry out investigations into the suspected proceeds of criminal conduct. When other avenues fail, the CAB can be used to bring down criminal organisations by following the money. Another reason Price relocated to the UK was that his associates and relatives were also being convicted and jailed. Stephen Gibbons, who had been married to Price's aunt and lived on his compound, was jailed for 7 years after he was caught with a 9mm submachine gun. Gibbons, who despite being caught red-handed with the weapon, continued to profess his innocence. He appealed the conviction but was unsuccessful. While in exile, Price continued his involvement in organised crime in the UK. He took part in a blackmail plot where 2 brothers were kidnapped in London and told they would be shot in the head if a £300,000 ransom was not paid. The brothers were tied up, blindfolded, fed sleeping tablets, made to wash with Dettol spray, that part I don't understand, and forced to call their relatives for money before armed police rescued them. One of the victims was found lying on a mattress in the back of a van driven by another Irishman, Darren McLean. McLean, whose real name is Gerald Dundon, was found guilty of 2 charges of conspiracy to blackmail and 1 count of conspiracy to falsely imprison. The 37-year-old was sentenced to 15 years in prison in 2023, 10 years for the kidnapping and 5 additional years for unrelated charges. Cornelius Price was also charged in connection with this kidnapping, but never stood trial as he was deemed too ill to attend court. Around this time, Price had been diagnosed with limbic encephalitis, a disease that is characterized by inflammation of the brain. His condition deteriorated over the last 2 years. He remained in intensive care and died on the 19th of February 2023 at a hospital in Wales. As you would expect for a criminal kingpin, no expense was spared at his funeral. 3 top-of-the-range yellow, maroon and white Lamborghinis led the mobster's funeral cortege in Rochdale in Greater Manchester. His family and friends followed behind, carrying Price's wooden coffin. As a further nod to Price's less-than-legal line of work, there were floral tributes in the shape of guns and chainsaws, while some attendees wore t-shirts with images of Cornelius Price with the words "The Boss" underneath. Sadly, during his short life, this evil criminal was barely held accountable for his involvement in some truly horrific murders. The authorities continue to uncover information about Cornelius Price's crimes. The only saving grace is that he is no longer around and that his time at the top of the criminal underworld was relatively short. Thank you very much for listening to Crime Chronicles today. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of new content.